everybody. Welcome to the second annual Faculty Council Stream-a-thon. This is a fundraising event to raise money for scholarships for our students. Those scholarships are named for great LaGuardia faculty who have really devoted their careers to the college. It's about a 3-hour event. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thanks again for your support.
Hello, everyone. Rochelle Isaac here, current president of Faculty Council. Welcome to the second Faculty Council Stream-a-thon. While we love the Stream-a-thons, we expect to be back to our regular auction in the fall, usually held after the professional staff meeting. With me are the other Faculty Council officers. Say hello, folks.
Hello, my name is John Toland. I'm the Vice President of Faculty Council, and I'm also teach physics in the Natural Science Department.
And I'm Tara Coleman, Secretary of Faculty Council from the English Department.
Hi, I'm Derek Stadler, the Treasurer of Faculty Council from the library, where I am Head of Media Services and the Web Services Librarian.
Thank you. As you know, the money we make from the Stream-a-thon goes to funding several scholarships for LaGuardia students. You can see the complete list on our website. This year, we've introduced the Paul Ocario Don Walker LGBTQIA+ scholarship in honor of Provost Ocario and his dedicated service to LaGuardia. I recently sent out an email with the eligibility guidelines. You can donate by clicking on the link in the announcement email sent out and the donate button posted on the live stream. I'd like to thank everyone who worked to make this happen, including Jamie Ruscio and the Stream-a-thon Organizing Committee, Tara, Hugo Fernandez, our MC, Walter Sistrunk, and Christopher Pope. And a special thank you to all our Faculty Council reps, also listed on our website. Finally, I'd like to thank all of the faculty, staff, and students who sent in videos showcasing our talents. So I am excited about the Stream-a-thon, excited about the historic confirmation of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson to the highest court of the land, excited about the next novel I'm going to be reading, which comes in today by this Caribbean writer, Ayanna Lloyd Banwell. What are you guys excited about? John?
So I'm excited about free food coming back to the college since we're in person. That's always a great thing. Had some cotton candy the other day. Which is pretty good. I'm excited about retirement. I don't know, Rochelle.
It's okay. I'm always excited about something. Go ahead, Tara. What are you excited about?
Yeah, I'm excited that it's finally seems like it's spring and it's warming up in April, and excited to be back on campus. I was there in the fall, but it seemed very lonely, and it seems a lot less lonely this spring. So it's great to see people, and students are obviously excited to be back too. So that's been really nice.
Derek?
Well, I'm excited because I think when everybody's listening to this at the end of April, we will be having a new chair in the library, hopefully. And I'm also excited about the upcoming summer to be sitting on the beach, relaxing under the sun.
Nice.
You can add, I'm excited to finish my Lego space shuttle. That's what if you want to cut that back in.
Oh, sure.
I'm excited to build and finish my Lego space stuff.
Wait, in your office or at home?
In my office.
Can you show us?
Yeah. Here's the progress of the space shuttle.
Wow.
Nice.
Really cool.
And you can see the other, the current collection. Oh, no. Somehow I've messed it up. You can see the Saturn V rocket and the Hubble Space Telescope.
Yeah, nice. John,
And although you can see my sharks and whales, it's only Professor Chicken that will be featured in the in my Stream-a-thon contribution. I don't know if you've seen it, Tara.
I have never been to your office, John, and now I have motivation to do so, to come by.
It's a fun office. It's got windows.
So fellow LaGuardians, thank you for all of your support for Faculty Council, and we hope you enjoy this Stream-a-thon.
All right, now this year I've decided to make arroz con pollo, and this is gonna be the first of 16 parts of the recipe. So hang on to your seats. Okay, so this year I'm making arroz con pollo, and for complete disclosure, I'm using a recipe from my mother's favorite cookbook, which is, maybe looks backwards to you guys, but it's The Memories of a Cuban Kitchen. All right. So, but we are going to tweak it a little bit because the way that she makes it, I've made it her in her way, and it came out like really dry. And I like my arroz con pollo asopado, as my mother used to say, or soupy. One of the things also I like to do is I like to have all my ingredients broken down here. So I've got a 3-pound chicken, all, you know, my different canned things like the peas and the salt and the crushed peppers. I got the pimentos here. Got all my vegetables ready to go. I use pure Spanish olive oil Goya. I'm not crazy about their politics, but I like their flavors. And then, you know, peppers, cumin, the usual, and saffron, which is pretty pricey. Chicken stock. I got this stuff. Araboyo rice, and my laurel, and my white wine, dry white wine. So that's how we're going to begin. Next, we have a film. It's a project from a student, Giancarlo Gutierrez, who is our film and television program. Let's watch.
I have achieved nothing in my life. I'm stuck in a loop, incapable of finishing anything I start. Today I put my miserable self to the test. A task that if I cannot accomplish, then I would truly know that I am incapable of anything grand. Today I will attempt to bake a cake. Eggs. The hardest part. My clumsy hands could never keep the eggshells from falling into the batch. For years I have purchased egg whites in a carton. When I was a child, I always marveled at my mother's ability to crack eggs perfectly. A skill I never inherited. I thought that after the eggs, each step would become easier. But my failing nature kept showing, and each task became increasingly difficult, to the point where it was driving me insane. I didn't think I could make it. I survived the ordeal. I followed the recipe. It is time to bake. It is the oven's turn to work its magic. I'll sit here, fearing each tick of the clock as I await the verdict. Now I must taste the fruit of my labor. Soon I will find out if I am good at anything, if I'm capable of living, or if I must give up entirely.
Now, Dr. Sherry Carr, the coordinator of the Humanities Philosophy program, is going to share an animated video by her daughter, Penny. So next we have Professor Kyle Holler-Gregory from the Social Sciences Criminal Justice Program, who is going to be talking about the Social Justice Scholarship and its first recipient, Joshua Tapia.
Hi, my name is Professor Kyle Holler-Gregory. I'm an assistant professor in the Social Science Department, and I work in the Criminal Justice Program. I would like to discuss the Racial Justice Scholarship, and I also have the first recipient of the award here with me today, Joshua Tapia, to give you some brief background about the scholarship and his experience applying for the award for the Racial Justice Scholarship. The scholarship was inspired by the deaths of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor during the pandemic. We want to encourage students to apply for the scholarship who have interest in criminal justice, social justice, and racial justice issues. Joshua Tapia is a great student and a former student of mine who was the president of the Criminal Justice Club, and he also has interest in becoming an attorney. So with that being said, I would like to turn it over to Joshua to give you some background information about himself, the scholarship, and his experience applying for the scholarship award.
Hi, I'm Joshua Tapia, and I'm a criminal justice major. In the future, I'd like to be a lawyer. And I heard about the Racial Justice Scholarship from my professor, Kyle Holler-Gregory, and I thought it was a great opportunity to share my feelings and my knowledge on the topic of racial justice and how people were being mistreated and how it's led to the deaths of countless victims over the years. So I decided to write about police brutality, like I said, but instead of just pointing out the problems, I decided to give out possible solutions. So my first possible solution was talking about defunding the police. But it's not just about defunding police, but it's about allocating those funds and putting them into everyday activities or everyday programs to help better the community. I thought this was a great opportunity. I advise everybody to go out and try to write a paper and share their feelings. And if you do intend to apply, make sure to send Kyle Holler-Gregory an email to show your intent. Thank you.
All right. So first we gotta start by preparing the rice, which, you know, with the classic arroz con pollo, we're talking about yellow rice. And you can buy yellow rice. There are a lot of things to do. What I like to do, first I like using this arborio stuff, which is a short grain rice. The recipe typically calls for short grain rice. Then what you're supposed to do is supposed to take the rice and you fill it with, you can see that it's got water in there. So it's about 2 cups of rice, 14 ounces. Hold on, I'm also doing something else over here. Turn that off. Okay, so I've got it soaking in water. It's under the water. And then what you're supposed to do is supposed to take maybe like 3 grains of saffron, but saffron is very pricey. You don't need a lot of it to get the flavor. So you break up 1, 2, that doesn't really look like much, does it? It isn't. So I'm going to break this up. I don't know how long the grain's supposed to be. But for me, the saffron, the best it can do is give a flavor. So what I also use is this stuff, which is probably the groovies aren't going to love it, is a kind of a yellow food coloring. And I'm just going to basically sprinkle it over the rice a little bit. And I'll probably stir it in a little bit too. And this will get soaked up by the rice and turn it yellow over time. Now, Nayeli Valencia Torrent is going to give us a dance lesson. She's the president's chief of staff.
Rueda, 5, 6.
Now, Carrie Connors from the English department is going to be discussing negotiations of Wheeling Pittsburgh Steel and United Steelworkers of America.
My name is Carrie Connors. I live in Queens, New York, but I'm originally from Moundsville, West Virginia. This poem's titled Negotiations, Wheeling Pittsburgh Steel and United Steelworkers of America. 5 pile into Martinelli's boat of a Cadillac, crank the windows down, turn the radio up. They're set to drive up to Pittsburgh from McMecken, West Virginia for negotiations with management. The company declared Chapter 11 in April of '85 after the union refused to sign a lousy contract, took away grievance rights, so they all walked out. 60 days in and the press is talking, even the big papers, and Sully knows there might be a photo op. He's a sharp dresser, sporting a tight paisley polyester button-down so bright your eyes water. It's the kind of early summer day that makes you notice your own breath, skin, really look at other people. Martinelli's lit up one of his cigarillos with the dashboard lighter, tapping ashes out the window. What the? Man, you lit me on fire! The sleeve of Sully's shirt going up faster than a dried-out Christmas tree. Big Sam smacks out Sully's arm before he's burned or shirtless. Everyone howls. Later, in front of the photographer for one of the Pittsburgh papers, Sully hides his disintegrated sleeve behind Big Sam. They're all grinning into the camera from the beauty of the weather, Sully's faux anger, the thrill of fighting for each other, and this time they won the day.
Next, Bert Eisenstadt from the Writing Center plays a little guitar for us.
Hello, I'm Bert Eisenstadt, the co-director of the Writing Center. Today I'll be playing some fingerstyle music for you. This is a song called Wayfaring Stranger, a traditional folk song arranged by Al Petaway. Thank you.
And now a classical monologue by Amber Santiago.
Since what I am to say must be but that which contradicts my accusation, and the testimony on my part no other but what comes from myself, it shall scarce boot me to say, not guilty. My integrity, being counted falsehood, shall, as I express it, be so received. But thus, if powers divine behold human actions, as they do, I doubt not then that innocence shall make false accusation blush, and tyranny tremble with patience. You, my lord, best know, who least will seem to do so, my past life hath been as continent, as chaste, as true, as I am now unhappy, which is more than history can pattern, though devised and played to take spectators. For behold me, a fellow of the royal bed, which owe a moiety of the throne a great king's daughter, the mother to a hopeful prince, here standing to pray and talk for life and honor, for who pleased to come and hear. For life, I prize it, as I weigh grief which I would spare. For honor, it's his derivative, from me to mine, and only that I stand for. I appeal to your own conscience, sir. Before Polynixus came to your court, how I was in your grace, how merited to be so, since he came with what encounter so uncurrent, I have strained to appear thus. If one jot beyond the bound of honor, or an act, or will that way inclining, hardened be the hearts of all that hear me, and my nearest of kin cry fie upon my grave.
Okay, so now what I've done is I have cut the chicken. I've washed the chicken, patted it dry, taken off most of the skin, and I've cut it up in about 8 pieces. I'm gonna throw them all into this bowl. Even got the backs in there, which is really tasty, okay? Then we're gonna take, I'm trying to figure out a place that this is best. Give you a good look at this. We're gonna take 2 teaspoons of salt. So one, my wife has a salty tooth, so I'm generous with this a little bit. 2. And you're supposed to put pepper on to flavor. So I'll just put a bunch of pepper all over this thing. And then supposed to squeeze a lime onto it. Juice of 1 lime. I've got my little crusher here. It smells good. Nothing like fresh lime. And hopefully you don't have any cuts on your hands, because what you got to do next is you have to like mix all of that up. See that? Mixing it all in there. And I think ideally, I think you probably let this marinate overnight, but since I'm trying to make this thing all in one day, that's probably not going to happen. Okay. Now Little Blue Monk by Yuri Feliciano performing on flute. now a video from one of our faculty in the math, engineering, and computer science program, Nathan Hosanna.
On the title, what you see is less than what you get. You can guess a million times and still be incorrect. 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 You can guess a million times, still be incorrect. On the title, what you see is less than what you get. You can guess a million times and still be incorrect. 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 On the title, what you see is less than what you get. You can guess a million times and still be incorrect. 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 Guess a million times, still be incorrect. Lil Nemo with big dreams, he represent Queenstown, skip though. Small fish swimming around a big bowl. Many countries adorn wealth disparities, carry skid row memories. Home pregnancy test properly piss pole positive. Polarity married to service opposite nigga. No clean divorces, the kids' Porsches and policies divvied up. A house divided, can't stand a Kaepernick. Word to the kitchen sink, living room and the cabinets. Redlining, school zones, group homes, then regentrified. Poor neighbors crowdfund, food banks, donors empathize. Can corn in the basket like Van Horn. The shrine of a baby girl at the corner you stand on. While I'm waiting to walk signal, seen all the traps his boys been through and learned from them. The undertitle paying forward cripples and ill lessons he turned some negative and let it give motivation and fuel for him to burn some. Undertitle, what you see is less than what you get. You can guess a million times and still be incorrect. 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 Guess a million times, still be incorrect. Undertitle, what you see is less than what you get. You can guess a million times and still be incorrect. 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 Undertitle, what you see is less than what you get. You can guess a million times and still be incorrect. 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 Guess a million times, still be incorrect. We are the undertitle. The undertitle can't define us.
Now, what I would call a really swinging human being is a person who lives on two levels at once.
Next, Dr. Poppy Slocum from the Humanities Communication Studies area is going to cook us some kettle corn.
Hi, my name is Poppy Slocum. I'm a professor of communication studies in the humanities department, and my talent that I'm sharing with you today is snacking. So we're going to make kettle corn. We're going to start off with a 1/4 cup of oil in a hot pan, and we're going to let it get nice and hot. Some people put a couple kernels of corn in there so that when it pops they know it's hot, but I just look at it, you know, it gets all like shimmery and light when it's hot. It's getting there. So the second it's hot, we are going to add the rest of our ingredients all at once. 1/2 cup of corn kernels, a 1/4 cup of sugar, and a teaspoon of salt that I'm just gonna add there to speed up the process a little bit. All right. I'm showing kettle corn today because I think this is one of like the most amazing snacks you can make, because it literally takes 5 minutes. You're gonna see, you're gonna be with me the whole time. And it's so fun and like feels like a treat. If you don't have any dessert and you're like, I wish I had some dessert. Well, yeah, you can make some in 5 minutes. Generally, when I say my talent is snacking, it's not just the eating of the snacks, but I think my secret talent is being able to find a snack in any kitchen at any time and make something a little good, you know, like even maybe an elevated snack. So this is my elevated snack for popcorn. And also, I just want to show you how easy it is to make popcorn, because I found out a lot of people like think you have to use a microwave to make popcorn and think you have to buy those like microwave popcorn bags, but you really don't. You just have to put it on the stove top, and it's super easy, and then you never run out because a bag of popcorn lasts forever when it's not, you know, in those individual microwave bags. One important thing is you have to keep it moving, so it is kind of annoying, but it's worth it. and I can make popcorn of various styles in about the amount of time of a Hulu ad. Okay, maybe a little longer. It does require a pause, but it's a pretty good snack. We do a lot of things with popcorn in my house. So kettle corn is a sweet variety. Ooh, it's starting to pop. Here we go. For savory, I also love to add some ranch powder. That's pretty good. If I'm really fancy, I'll melt some chocolate and some peanut butter together and drizzle that for a little sweet chocolate peanut butter popcorn. And then of course, like garlic powder and Parmesan cheese. Classic, delicious. Oh, here we go. I have never made popcorn in a non-stick pot. I don't know if it is advisable. I think you want a heavy bottomed pot, ideally. This is my favorite popcorn pot. And I know that it holds just under half a cup of kernels. So I lied when I said a half cup because I'm modifying from my precise pan, which takes a little less than a half a cup. But the ratio is pretty good. And, you know, you adapt as you want. It's pretty flexible. You can add less oil, less sugar, more sugar, whatever you want. And we're gonna know it's done. Well, I'm gonna know it's done when this pot is full because I know exactly how much it holds. But we know it's done when the popping slows down and we get a couple of seconds between each pop. Ooh, we're getting there. And we are done. Boom. Kettle corn. Watch out. Let it cool. Ooh, a little caramel at the bottom. Yum. Excellent. Let it cool before you eat it. It's really hot and it's delicious. Enjoy.
Okay, so we're taking my crusette, which some of you might recognize from my my black beans and rice recipe previously, and I've got about 2 ounces of olive oil down there, and you're supposed to supposedly heat it in a low heat until fragrant. Though I turned it up a little bit for theatrical purposes. We'll see if what happens now when I put this down. So there's a little bit of sound there, not much, so we need to turn that up a little bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm trying to get all of the chicken in there in this crusette. It's not easy on the bottom, so that it's all touching. We're supposed to cook this for 6 to 8 minutes on each side, and all we're doing is browning the chicken. I don't think I'm going to get it all in there, so I may have to actually it's a little bit bigger than a 3-pound chicken, so we're going to get it. I might have to do it in pieces, but we'll see. So I've got it in there, so I'm going to pour the rest of this in there. Ooh, that's important. Juice. And we're going to let it brown for 6 to 8 minutes. One side, then flip it 6 to 8 minutes the other.
Okay, so now I have with me Clementine Lewis from the library, who is going to speak to us a little bit about the research review competition. Clementine, maybe you can just introduce yourself first before we talk about the competition.
Yes, I'm Clementine Lewis. I'm one of the faculty members in the library. I've been with the college for 34 years and going on 35 in September. I've been working with, I'm the extended day librarian and also the interlibrary loan librarian. I've been working with the competition since 1988. And so I'm just always very happy to try to promote it or to get students involved, because it's a great way to help students involved in the research process.
That's great. Well, we're so glad to have someone who's been involved in this for such a long time, and it's such an important place to make research visible at the college. So could you just tell us a little bit about the history of the research review competition? How did it start and what were the goals of the initial organizers?
Yes, the competition started in 1980. Faculty from the library and the English department met and they collaborated in an endeavor to promote the traditional college research paper. They also wanted to recognize students for excellence in completion of papers assigned for classroom research activities. And I just want to show one of the publications from 1986. The faculty panel members, including the library and the English department, met. And so what they've done is they produced a publication that includes the first place winners and their research papers from 1980 through 1985.
Wow.
And this is available in the library for anybody who wants to see it. It's a great way to look back to see how the college has been so involved in research and the students have been so involved in research. Okay, presently, we include the papers for the first, second, and third place winners in the e-reserve system. And this system is password protected and any of the LaGuardia students and faculty may have access to it.
Wow, maybe
so that's somewhat the history of it.
That's so interesting. Maybe we should assign a student to do a research paper about the history of research papers at the college and how they changed maybe or not over time. And so we are actually interviewing some of the recent winners of this competition as part of this program. So people will hear those elsewhere in the Stream-a-thon. And so we just wanted to ask you, as someone with long experience in the competition, what is your sense of the impact it has on students to be recognized as writers and researchers in this way?
It's always had a significant impact for the students. First of all of the students who participate will receive a certificate of participation. And this certificate of participation is signed by the president of the college, the library chairperson, competition chairperson, and faculty council chairperson. So all of the students who enter the competition are winners. Also, over the years, many students have written back and sent emails about how happy they were just to get the certificate, not necessarily to win the competition. But then the certificate is a great honor because they can include the certificate on their resume if they're applying for to another college. And then also on their college application, there's an area for extracurricular activities. They include that. And it just makes a great first impression if someone is trying to apply for a college or for a new job. I also write an article about the competition and I include a section called Meet the Students. This particular section provides information about each of the winners. And for them, this is also a great honor to share with their families and also again to share on their applications as showing how they've been involved in research activities, and it helps to promote them. We also have a section on the competition on the website for photos. So all the past winners for the most part are included. And this is also a great honor for most of the students to be able to show their families and their friends. So that's one way you do for that particular goal.
Yeah, that's so great. So for any students who may be watching this Stream-a-thon and who may be interested in submitting for this year, can you just give a brief overview of the process and the requirements? Where should they go to find out more information?
Well, first of all, they can visit the library and speak with the librarian at the reference desk. And when they do that, the librarian will will speak to them about the process. First of all the papers that are submitted or either have received an A or A- from the classroom instructor. So they're already graded. So once they do that, they fill out an application and then they submit it at the reference desk, or they can send it right now because we're doing a lot of remote work to me by email.
Okay.
And that information is explained because we send out college-wide emails to faculty and students. Also, we created the website, and it's great. And I'll show that in just a minute. And that's at library.laguardia.edu/research review. And that provides a lot of information. It provides a flyer that we also send out to students, and it's available from the library that includes the complete research process. Okay, so here's the home page for the competition. I'm just gonna bring this up for just 1 minute. We're on the home page. If anyone wanted to see past papers, they could click here and the papers are listed. And notice that we have it from 2020 to 2021, first, second, and third place winners. The names of the students are listed. Right now, we're going to 2003, but we may be adding more later, back papers. We also have the competition rules here. That's the application that I was referring to. The students may come, gives a deadline, and then they may fill out the application online. And then we have some other information that's helpful for them. Then the tools. We thought it would be very helpful to set up the tools where if students were having problems citing, according to MLA, APA, Chicago, they'd be able to come here, they would find help. And then here's information about the panel members, the other members that serve with me. Their names are listed. Here are the promotional flyers. Now, I wanted to show the last part about how they can search the website. We try to make it very easy, where they can search for first place winners, second place winners, third place, search for the academic departments, information about the faculty, classroom faculty whose students have won, various research topics, and the students. So all of that information is there. They can go through and click on each link. So that's mainly what I wanted them to know, but also just so they'll know, we did a video. I'll click on library one more time. We did a video about the history, the 40th anniversary. If anyone wants to come to this particular area and just click on, they will be able to take a look at the information about the history of the website. It provides great information. Okay.
So thank you so much for sharing all this information with us and for all of your work with this competition. And we know that if anyone watching has any questions, whether students or faculty members, they can definitely reach out to you, right? So thank you.
Yes, at any time. And thank you so very much for highlighting the competition. This is great.
Thanks so much. It's great to talk to you.
Next, Tara Coleman interviews one of our students who won the research review contest, Alex Palomo.
Right now, we have with us Alex Palomo, who was one of the winners of the Welcome Alex, one of the winners of the research review competition last year. So I'll just ask you to introduce yourself, tell us your major or program, and then tell us what class you wrote the paper that you submitted for and what your paper was about.
Yeah, well, hi, my name is Alex Palomo. I'm an English major at LaGuardia right now. My entry in the research review competition was written for my Honors English 102 class. And I wrote about the influenza epidemic in San Francisco in 1918. And I sort of did a comparative study relating it to COVID-19 and protocols back then and now, and how successful they were. So that's what I wrote about.
Wow, that sounds really interesting, and of course, totally relevant. I mean, I guess you must have learned a lot from that process.
Yeah, I think I did. I mean, I went in with kind of like a superficial knowledge of, obviously what's going on now and what happened back then, but there were a lot more similarities than I realized. And when I was delving into primary sources, looking at newspaper articles and historical sources related to the influenza epidemic, I realized how similar a lot of the processes were that were going on back then and now. And it was interesting. I mean, people never change in some ways.
Yeah, exactly. Similar. It's kind of helpful to know that, but also not really. It's but yeah, really interesting. So can you tell us a little bit about the process of submitting for the competition, and if there's any students who are watching this, if you have any advice for them if they're considering submitting about just going through that process?
Right. So the process was pretty simple. You write an essay for your class, and then you simply have to email your essay to the coordinator of the research review competition. I was recommended to enter by my professor, who thought my essay was, very strong. And if you're considering entering yourself in the competition, I would recommend revising your essay over with your professor. My professor was very helpful with me, looking at the changes I made and making sure it was up to spec. For competitions like this, you really want to put your best foot forward. So I guess, yeah, if you feel like you have something strong to work with, just revise a lot and, consult with people you trust. Yeah.
Great advice, yes. And congratulations on winning. It is a stiff competition. So what did it feel like when you won?
Well, maybe this isn't the most unexpected answer, but I was pretty excited. I don't know what I expected, but yeah, it was a great honor. I was told as I was entering that the competition was stiff. And I know the panel, judges the work by a high standard, so I was very honored. Yeah.
It's great. And so you're an English major now. What semester are you in, and what are your plans for the next few years with this program?
Currently I'm in my second year. This is going to be I'm entering the spring semester in my second year. I've applied for transfers now. My application's in a lot of places. I'd probably be going to Queen's College or something like that, and I'd be continuing my my studies as an English major. Yes.
Great. So, I'm glad that you had the chance to put your work forward in this way for this competition. It's a great experience just to put your work out there. And like you said, to have that experience of doing that extra layer of revision and work, because it's something you'll continue to do in your academic career and professionally as well, I'm sure. So
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us a little bit about your submission for the contest. And I wish you the best of luck in the new semester.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so cook the rice up. I'm doing it a little bit differently than I usually do it. It's almost like I boiled this thing because I was worried I had too much chicken in the bowl. So, ow! Okay, now I'm taking all the chicken out of it. Notice how it's all boiling. I'm gonna let it boil off too, that's all. And that's good chicken stuff. I'm gonna add the rest of the olive oil that's necessary, because now we're going to cook the sofrito. Those of you who remember from the black bean recipe, sofrito is basically the foundational saute for almost every Latin dish. Thing that's missing here is we're gonna let this cook for 6 to 8 minutes. Seems like 8 minutes is the time that this lady likes. I'm gonna also add in garlic, pressing it. Usually I wait until the rest of it cooks because the garlic can burn, but since I'm gonna cook it maybe with the lid on, maybe that won't happen. So basically you're supposed to cook this till the onions turn white, or 6 to 8 minutes, whatever comes first. Okay. Next is probably one of the best videos this year from our health science faculty member, Julene Kogan.
There are shines through all the earth authority. Always on the
Now one of our students, Eric Blanca, is going to fly us to the moon.
Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, darling, kiss me. Fill my heart with song and let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you. Fill my heart with song and let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, in other words, I love you.
Now, Dr. Rathod from the Natural Science Chemistry program is going to do a little experiment for us.
Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Rathod. I'm a faculty in Natural Science department and I teach chemistry. Not all my students find chemistry interesting, so I have to show them some demonstration to show them that chemistry is interesting and fun. Today in this video, I'm going to share one of such demonstration with you guys. So let's get started. Okay guys, so in today's demonstration, I'm going to show you how to make a lava lamp. In here, I have all the items that we need for this demonstration. First, we need empty glass bottle. Then we need some baking soda. We need some vegetable oil. We need some vinegar. And we also need some food color. So, to make the lava lamp, first we're going to take an empty glass bottle. And in that, we are going to add some baking soda. In this part, I have added about 1 tablespoon of baking soda. Next, I'm going to add some vegetable oil. In this part, I have added about 200 ml of vegetable oil. Next, I'm going to take some vinegar and going to add a couple of drops of food color into that. In here, I have mixed vinegar with couple of drops of food color. Now I'm going to add this color food that is mixed with the vinegar into this glass bottle. Now, before I mix color vinegar into this glass bottle, first I'm going to use a flashlight. I just use my cell phone flashlight for this lava lamp. I have just placed my cell phone with the flashlight on underneath this glass bottle, and next what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this vinegar solution into this glass bottle. Now let's just wait for magic to happen. Now, just to make this more interesting, I'm just going to pour some more vinegar into this. So as you guys can see, this is your homemade lava lamp, which you can make it on your own at home and show it to your kids or family or friends. Thank you guys for watching, and I'm signing off with all I'm going to say is thank you, LaGuardian. Dare to do more.
Okay, so we've let the sofrito cook up. I've turned up the heat. By the way, I failed to mention, it's all it is a green pepper and an onion chopped with about 4 cloves of garlic. Now we're going to add the tomato, crushed tomato, 8 ounces, 1/4 cup of finely chopped pimentos, 1 bay leaf. Usually these are broken up, so I throw in maybe a little more right there. Laurel, for those of you from the southern Mediterranean, right? And then something everybody, that most Cuban dishes need, which is, let's see if we can get it in here. About a teaspoon of cumin. You gotta be careful with this stuff because I accidentally once put a tablespoon in when it needed a teaspoon. That was a mistake. So we throw in the cumin and we stir some more. And this is gonna cook for about 5 minutes. All right. Starting to smell good. That cumin is like, if you smelled that, you would say, oh yeah, that's Latin.
And now a little performance from the coordinator of the music performance program in the humanities department, our own Tom Dempsey.
Next, Tara Coleman interviews Ali Issa, who is one of the winners of last year's Berman Scholarship.
Right now I have with me Ali Issa, a LaGuardia student who was one of the winners of the Berman Scholarship last year. Thank you so much for taking the time on a busy morning that you're having to talk to us about this scholarship. Can you start by telling us what kind of information about yourself did you share with the scholarship committee when you applied for this scholarship?
Hey, how you doing, everybody? My name is Ali Issa. I'm a student at LaGuardia Community College. I'm in the radiology program. I will graduate this semester if nothing happened. I always apply for the scholarship. I apply all the scholarship inside the college, outside the college. What's helped me a lot, my GPA is high, like my GPA 3.9 almost. Even if your GPA low, try to apply for the scholarship through LaGuardia, through CUNY. There's a lot of help from LaGuardia. Through scholarship, through the emergency, through financial aid, there's a lot of help from LaGuardia through to the student. So it's my recommendation to students should just go give a shot and apply for any scholarship. And usually LaGuardia as a CUNY, they send email to student. They tell you there's a scholarship, apply for it. Don't ignore the emails. Just have a look on the email. It may take like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Give a shot, write your statement, and put your thought on the paper and send it. And you may get it, you may not. If you get it, that's perfect. If you didn't get it, that's mean you have a bad experience. You write your statement on the paper, you put your thought. Maybe second time you have a better thought, you have a better chance. And always share the information with your student, so it could everybody have the same help. And really this scholarship really helped me a lot. I remember the scholarship I received, it was $300. I bought the book with it, to be honest. My book, the radiology book is very expensive. So I bought the book with it, and it's really helped me, and I really encourage people to apply for scholarship.
That's great. I'm so glad it was able to support you in your education, and also it's great advice to just go for it, for these kinds of things, because you never know. And like you said, you can always learn if it doesn't go well. The first time you can learn from what you did and build on the statement that you wrote and so forth. Can you share a little bit about what you told the committee about your activities at LaGuardia, your community work, things like that?
Yeah, as I said, I'm a student at the radiology program. Every program like LaGuardia or CUNY, they start to choose a leader which was handle and connection between the student and the professors, because the professor cannot work with the 23 at the same time. Because some students, they may ask him a question, so they will pick a leader, secretary, treasurer, and vice president. So they pick me up with a student as a president at the first time. So I've been like a leader in the program for the past 4 semesters, almost like 2 years. So I think in my experience, there is responsibility for the leader, because you get to be close to the professors, how to work as a management, how to deal with the student, because students from all over the countries, it could be from China, could be from Arabic, could be from Latino. So everybody have a different culture. I learn a lot from culture diversity. I learn how to deal with the student from different thinking, different thoughts. Everybody have a different thought. So it's really helped me a lot as a leader, as I build a lot of skills. I even apply this when I start doing my rotation in the hospital. I start realize how much that helped me, how much support me, and apply my experience, my knowledge, what I learned to be a leader, how I can talk to the people. So anywhere I go, they say, "Oh, you a student?" I'm not sure if you are a student, because you talk as like a leader. You're not scared, you're not shy, you can tell your thought. Usually students shy. They don't talk, they don't have experience with other people. And then I say, no, this is bad experience. And I really advise everybody, if you want to build yourself, if you want to have a knowledge, if you have skills, let's give a shot. Maybe first time it doesn't catch, second time will catch. But the first time, all the time, give you tips how to learn. And the second time, you will correct your tips and apply your knowledge in a better way.
That's great. That's great advice, and thank you so much. And so you mentioned before that you're on TikTok and you have 13,000 followers. So I guess you seem like you've had some time to share these things publicly and talk about it. And it's great to be able to share what you're learning and advice with people who are coming up behind you and to lead them in that way as well, right?
Yes, because on TikTok I speak my language because I'm very active in my community. I try to push my community, which is like I'm from Palestine. I try to push all the Arabic who cannot speak the language, who's lost, who don't know how to start. I have met a lot of singles women with the babies. They don't know how to start colleges. They just lost. I just guide them. I bring 3 of my friends. I met them on TikTok. I register them in LaGuardia. And one of my friend, I register him in Connecticut, Bridgeport, master. So I just try to give tip how student can apply to the college, what's the process, because most of the people from outside the US, they start say, oh, it's too hard to study. I have a hard time with the language. I don't know what they're gonna ask me, what I should do, what about the money. So I tell them there's financial aid, there's scholarship, there's a loan, you can study, it's nothing hard. If I do it, anybody can do it. This is for sure, 100%. I was like, when I went to school the first time, when somebody speak to me, I was looking to the ceiling. I said, what the hell is he talking about, the guy? So if I do it, anybody can do it, and try to push everybody. And then start like my followers coming up, they start offer money to me, but I'm not about money in social media. I'm just to do something voluntaries and try to push people how to through the education, because to build the country, you need education, people.
Sounds like a great way to support your community and to connect people, even in this time where we've been disconnected or virtual in so many ways. It seems like you've really made the best of that. So thank you for that, and thank you for sharing a little bit about your experience at LaGuardia and your process of applying for this scholarship, and wish you the best of luck in your last semester, and congratulations on being almost done.
Thank you so much.
Meet you.
Okay, we're gonna add back in the chicken, and I've lost my tongs. Grab the other tongs. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of like getting the chicken into the sauce there a little bit. Remember, all we got here really is slightly marinated chicken that's been browned or boiled in its own juices here. I'm trying to get it under the sauce so it start taking on some of this flavor. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. I got it on high just for theatrics. Neck bone. Anybody eats that, but God, it's flavorful. Okay. Now we got the chicken in there. Pour all the sauce in it. 4 ounces of wine. And we are just gonna let it simmer in here now for another 5 minutes.
Here's one of our students, Tiana White, who's gonna perform O Mio Bambino Caro. So now we're going to get to see another animation from Sherry Carr's daughter, Penny.
Presenting Chicky. Now pizza. Banana does her big upside down twirl. Bird and her nest going around and fly, going back. Popsicle doing her great hops. Watermelon doing her turnaround upside down. Just keep going. Chickadoodle walking along the street.
And now, another classical monologue by Andy Hawker.
Touch not the boy. He is of royal blood. Lucius, save the child and bear it from me to the Empress. If thou do this, I'll show thee wondrous thing that may highly advantage thee to hear. If thou may not befall what may befall, I'll speak nothing but vagans rot you all. Why, assure thee, Lucas, 'twill vex thy soul to hear what I shall speak. For I must talk of murders and rapes and massacres, abominable deeds, black nights, conflicts of mischief, treasons, villainies, right full of hair, yet hideous to perform. And this shall all be buried by my death, unless thou swear my child shall live. Swear that he shall live, and I will begin. What if I do not? Indeed, I do not. Yet for I know that are art religions and has a thing within called conscience, with 20 pompous tricks and ceremonies which I have seen there and observed. Therefore I urge that oath. For that I know an idiot that holds a bubble for a god and keeps that oath by which that god he swears to. To that, I'll urge him. Therefore, thou shalt vow by that same God, what God so it be, that artist and has in reverence to save my boy, to nourish and bring him up, or else I won't discover naught to thee.
All right, so now we're gonna add in the chicken broth, and this is one of the tricks. My sister taught me this one. The recipe in the book calls for 5 cups of chicken broth. I only pour in 4, and you'll see why in a minute. See, now what's supposed to happen is that this is supposed to just kind of dislodge the sofrito. It's supposed to bring this thing to a boil. All right, and we're gonna do that. All right, but again, 4 ounces of the chicken broth.
Next, we've got some images from Tasha with a soundtrack by Subi Karmacharya.
Turn back time to the good old days. You know I wouldn't hesitate to bring you back. Swear I would trade my life to save your day. Now I got nobody but myself to blame, and this nobody land.
Next, an interview with Evelyn Gabry, one of our students, with Tara Coleman to discuss the Alex Berman Scholarship.
Hi, everyone. So Right now, we're going to introduce one of the winners of the Alan G. Berman Scholarship from last academic year. I have with me Evelyn Gabri, one of the winners. So Evelyn, maybe you could just introduce yourself, let us know what your major is at LaGuardia, and tell us a little bit about what you shared with the scholarship committee when you applied.
Sure, thank you. My name is Evelyn Gabri, and my major is communications media, mass media. And I've been at LaGuardia from spring 2020. This coming spring 2022, it's already my last semester. And when I actually got the opportunity to apply for the scholarship, it was through a email that I actually saw in my students' LaGuardia email, which was exciting because I didn't expect it. So also considering that keeping a GPA above 3.0, 3.2 is also considered. And one of the important points I do remember when applying to the scholarship. I believe also in other scholarships, there's always certain points that they want the students to know. And there's also other opportunities that are being required with the whole, like we can call it packet, when applying to the scholarship.
Yeah, so what kinds of information about your activities at LaGuardia and your academic and also kind of extracurricular work did you share with the application?
So yes, with the application, I did some tutoring at the CIET at LaGuardia, and that kind of helped a lot because it was tutoring elementary children after school, homework and reading, and also a member of PTK. It also helped doing other orientations and group activities, as well as being from the Women's Center. I was also invited on a panel, working parents. So that helped a lot too. And all of that working together helped build the small, interesting thing that they always like us to submit in the requirements.
And so, how did it feel when you were selected? Was it a useful thing for you in any way to win this award?
Definitely, it is it's like a boost after a long process of 12, 14 weeks and tense back-to-back homeworks, assignments, meetings. Online meetings are always exhausting. So when we see all this, sometimes we get this student fatigue thing going on, but when we see this, we're like, wow, okay, let me keep going. It's an interesting spike of energy and all this enthusiasm the student regains back after all these intense exams.
Yeah, a nice validation of all that you've been doing, right? And I can imagine, I mean, you started at LaGuardia right in the semester when the pandemic hit, and now you're about to finish. I mean, that's incredible that you have persevered through such a challenging time. I just really, wow, I admire that work that it must have taken for you to get here. I can see you're a little emotional about it, and I can really understand how that must feel. So thank you so much for taking the time to share your experience with the scholarship with us.
Thank you.
And now for the Humanities Music Recording Program, Professor Mark Brooks with Abashe Blues Mob.
we've brought this thing to a boil. And now what we're going to do is we're going to add in, remember that rice that we had soaking? Look at it now. Got all nice and yellow. We're going to pour that in. It's supposed to be about 14 ounces of rice. I put in 2 cups because my wife loves rice. So I want to have a lot of rice in it. And the trick is to mix it around so that it gets everywhere. Okay. Now, what the recipe calls for here is to bring it, not only bring it to a boil, but literally let it cook down until the rice is, all you see is craters of where the water dried out. We're not going to do that. We're just going to bring it to a boil. All right.
And now, a contemporary monologue by England Camberry.
I've been careful. Always very careful. Before touching a woman, I always put on rubber gloves. Some women are taken aback ashore when you pull out the rubber gloves in dental dam. But what kind of women are those? Women that know that they have diseases? And those are not the women that I want to know in any case. So when people ask me if I'm upset at being a virgin, I just say no way. I'm just looking for a clean woman. I'm not against kissing. I just would advise and make sure that her mouth is cleaned well first. If she would brush her teeth and then use mouthwash for a minimum of 60 seconds, I of course would also brush and use mouthwash as well. I like cleanliness, that's all. I mean, we're all dirty. God knows I scrub my hands before I put these gloves on.
So next we have a short story from Bidjoyetta Das, one of our professors of journalism here at LaGuardia Community College.
So this was a story that I did a long time ago, and as journalists tend to become people's new best friends and then forget all about them. But this story stayed with me, not just because of Halima, but because what does it mean to live in a boat? What does it mean not to have home, a piece of land? And last year, like many people, I was looking for an apartment to take advantage of the pandemic deals. And that's when Halima came to my thoughts. And this piece is a personal narrative. It's a big shift from writing other people's stories, where I write about my own experience, but also remembering Halima. So I'm going to share this piece and I'm going to put the link. It's a much longer piece, but I'll just share a bit of it. I love my fat-bellied, reddish, greenish mango clay bank that unfailingly grew heavier with coins each passing year. Those days, whenever the childish tantrums got the worst of me, I would cradle my treasure, pack 2 frocks in a polythene bag, comb my hair into a ponytail, and threaten my mother. I am leaving home and going away. How far, she would ask. 7 seas and 13 rivers, I would declare, wiping away snot and tears. That was a precise measure of my inner conviction. And I was utterly confident I could make it as long as I wore closed-toed shoes to survive being stepped on. And away did I go. Propelled by divine grace, my mother's blessings and my father's prayers, hard work, some luck, I traveled across 7 seas and 13 rivers away from my hometown in Assam. As a journalist and a photographer, I followed my curiosity and imagination. I unwrapped many mysteries to marvel at the beauty. I stumbled upon the gory and the glory. From crawling inside coal mines in Meghalaya to being tear-gassed in Bangkok, from the kidnapping capital in the Philippines to the honeymoon island in South Korea, I chased stories, precisely others' stories. Today, a half a lifetime later, I find myself in a moment of stillness. I turn around and look back. I see the coin-filled mango pulsating with determined ambition and indisputable innocence. I see the little girl who is still within me. I remember the places and the spaces that humbled me, the bursting rallies, the ramshackle refugee camps, the stadium-sized conference halls, and minty cool classrooms. In these places, I had paused to ask myself, I'm not from here, but here I am. Now what? Who am I? Where am I? What am I doing here? A decade-old memory beckons. I find myself in a blue Maruti car with windows that were permanently unrolled, cutting through January cold morning fog, searching for the river gypsies along the Meghna River in Bangladesh. Gypsies who lived in boats that no longer sailed. For hundreds of years, the Bedis or river gypsies, as they are known, cruise along intricate waterways while charming snakes, training monkeys, selling trinkets, and healing people upon the river banks. Rivers alive for the 1 million strong community. As time flowed, their elixirs and amulets had few takers, and their antiques amazed no one. When the fine cracks on the boat became longer and its hold bigger, they tied their boats to bamboo poles, stuck to the waterbed, and threw away their oars, never to sail again. I met Halima, who rowed a small raft to take me to her 2 boats that housed 8 members of her family. As my body swayed gently in tune with the wobbling boat, I took in the neatness of a 1-room, tin-roofed ramshackle home. Why not abandon these boats and settle down? I asked her. We were born to be with the river, Halima had said with a smile. That was at once proud and sad. And I joined her in that smile because that winter I owned no keys, and everything that I owned had to be a total of 20 kilos. My body still remembers that swaying wobbliness upon those broken boats. I felt it once again here in New York. In search of a new home, I'm rambling around, seeking a slice of floor in the air. Brokers with crisp shirts trying to be my new best friend with a mouthful of tittle-tattle and prattle. On one such tour, a broker explained he would show me the best apartment in the building, as it had a rare commodity, all natural light. It also had a kitchenette, all steel. Come on, let's get real. Who cooks in New York? The elevator kept rising along with his vivacious selling. You're petite. All you need is a twin bed, he tried to convince me. I was convinced that the elevator was a vacuum cleaner and I had been sucked into it for an eternity, only to be released in a studio which had 2 sets of floor-to-glass ceiling walls facing another building under construction. The apartment looked like it was steamrolled into a neat, tight hotel room, all fizz, all buzz. But if I could not imagine my library, plants and spices proliferating, how could I blossom? It has just enough space for me to lie down, which is all I wanted to do, because at that precise moment, I got struck by a newly acquired combined case of claustrophobia and vertigo. I also met an agent who probed through my house hunting misadventures with chuckling delight. You should keep looking for an apartment because you must write about looking for an apartment, he said in a voice as mild as milk. Now, as I put aside yesterday's sourness and start again each day with fat hope, the questions simmer. Is it size and shape that makes a place home? While in New York, should I not cook like New Yorkers? Is wanting light, space, and quiet asking too much? In seeking what seems right to me, am I not learning to accept the me who is seeking? Or will the home choose me? That's it.
Now for a very exciting segment. Professor John Toland of the Natural Science Department is going to give us a tour of his chicken collection.
Hi, everybody. I hope you've been enjoying the Stream-a-thon and that we've been able to give you some entertainment and have some fun while raising money for some student scholarships. For those of you who don't know me, my name is John Toland. I'm from the Natural Sciences Department, and I'm also the Vice President of Faculty Council, and I'm here today to share with you my glorious and wonderful chicken collection. However, I will use my colleague here, Professor Chicken, will explain things to you, whereas I might not be so much fun at doing it.
I'm a much better presenter for presenting the glory and regalness of the chicken. So please follow me and explore this glorious collection of my colleagues. Is it on? Point the camera at me. There we go. You are a terrible cameraman. I'm doing my best. It's not my forte. Well, you must do the chickens justice. Let us go and see and marvel. First at all of these glorious chickens. Oh, but back in the frame. What are you thinking? Yes, as you can see, my grand collection of friends, spanning the entirety of the table. So let us talk about the chickens and start with the glorious Muppet Gonzo. Whoop! What? You are unprofessional. I cannot believe this. All right. Give me 1 second. Jeez. As I was saying, before being so rudely interrupted, Gonzo, the Grand Muppet Chicken, who had the chicken army led by his precious chicken Camilla, was an inspiration for the current collection you see here of glorious chickens. The chicken can be found and bring tranquility and regalness to all parts of a home or workspace, although someone forgot to tape the workplace segment. Don't look at me. What are you upset with me for? Whatever. If you wish to see the chickens in the workplace, you can stop by Professor Tolan's office and marvel at their beauty and glory. Anyhow, the chickens you see here can be found in many rooms, from regal living room set pieces. As we can see, a beautiful metal chicken, one made with feathers, but I assure you not, it may look real, but if you look closely, it is styrofoam and googly eyes. The feathers, though, the feathers are where... End of the frame! What is... I swear, I can't do anything right here. You're just letting me drone on and on without catching my flair. Okay. God, you're so demanding. As I was saying, you can see the glorious detail of this chicken. And of course, even more exciting still, is the stuffed animal chicken, who is a cousin of mine. As you can see, we are both made from the same fluff and fuzz. But the grandest chicken is the ceramic chicken. Look at its glory and its regalness. You can see to scale. You can see to... What are you doing? Well, we're doing the best we can. There's a lot of stuff here. You can see all of the detail. And for scale, it is a very big chicken. This chicken watches over all the other chickens in the dwelling to make sure that they are all safe and protected. Fix what you have broken. All right. Do you have me framed? Yes, I have you framed. Sorry for that unprofessionalism. As I was saying, chickens are even represented. Besides being the regal guardians of the house and having great statues in our honor, chickens are even found in your literature, where we have been peer-reviewed as both magnificent and extraordinary. If you flip through these tomes, you will see beautiful representations of my kind, in all their glory, from all over the world. And chickens also can be used for kitchenry ware, for plate and dining ware. We will not talk about what you put on these plates. It is a very sensitive subject. But you can see these beautiful chickens. And we even have a time chicken, telling the time of the day. And as we move on, we pass through more beautiful kitchen plates. Where are they? You're not getting to the plates. Hold on, I'm sorry. Here, folks, hold on. There. And we can see the beautiful kitchen condiments. Salt and pepper shakers. We have 2 of them. Seriously. That magnet. All right, I'll fix it. Just give me a minute. Hold on. Dr. Toland is not doing very well by our chicken kind. And now you can see we have beautiful humorous sayings on our fridge magnets, as we see how the chicken brings peace and majesty to all rooms of the dwelling. And another statue stands guard, proudly looking at the chickens as they serve their purpose in the kitchen. We can also be used, much like Gonzo, for entertainment. As you can see, we have several toys. Passed over chicken bowl. Ah, yes. We have a fully formed chicken. It rolls. Hold on, let me go. Hold on, just give me a second. Those wheels aren't real? The shame, the crime, the agony. So upsetting, so upsetting. But we do have a wind-up chicken toy. Over. A wind-up chicken toy. And we have what is this? It's a duck stapler. Why is there a duck stapler in this magnificent presentation? I thought it was fun. I like the duck stapler. What about ducks, says chicken. I swear. One thing. You had one job. One job. Okay, I'll move the duck stapler. Sheesh. Such a drama chicken. I heard that. Move this away from the presentation. I like the duck stapler quite a bit, thank you very much, but it is not a chicken. Anyway, we will pen out now so you can see all of the collection in its glory and be regaled and amazed at all of the chickens. I thank you for hearing my presentation of their glory. Okay, I think we've heard enough from you. Although we'll have to have a talk about professionalism. I'll deal with him later. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed the presentation, and I hope that you donate to help our students out. Thank you very much.
Now let's get back to my arroz con pollo.
Here's a bonus. While that's cooking, we are going to prepare some bananas, plátanos, plantains for cooking. So you peel it and you're trying to protect the skin. And if you don't protect the skin, you won't be able to use it later for next. And you cut it into segments like that. I don't know how big is that, 1.5 inches each. We're cooking both maduros and the green plantains, which we call tostones. And we're gonna make more maduros than tostones because my wife and I love the maduros. But, and you can reheat those easily. Tostones can't be reheated very easily. So again, we're gonna cut these into these sections here like this. All right, again, saving the banana leaf. You're gonna see why in a minute, okay? You get the idea.
Now, Professor Teresa Licari will make some pottery for us.
This is what we did yesterday. We put shape on it, and I used the metal boards like this to put shape on it. It's kind of hard right now, and I just wanted to show you, I know most of you've done it on your other pieces. A couple of things you can do at this point, when it's leather hard, is you can burnish it with the burnishing stone.
Or a spoon.
Or a spoon. And you can reinforce the shape that way, plus make the surface very smooth. Some people fire it just like this, and it'll come out like a real shiny, almost like dark brown finish. So that's one thing you could do, and you just keep rubbing the stone back and forth, and I think most of you have done that, right, at some point with some of the clay projects already. What that does is it pushes any of the sand or grog particles into the clay, and you have a nice smooth surface. Because pottery, although it's functional, it also has to be a piece of artwork, so you have to consider all the elements of art: line, shape, texture, value, tone, etc. Alright, so that's one thing you could do with the surface. Another thing, when you're done and you put the wire through and it dries a little bit, is you have to make a rim. So pottery is very important to have a good top on it and a good bottom on it. And that's something that I'll show you down the road. But if you look at Mrs. Preskey's little teacups here.
I didn't polish them, so you can see the difference without them being polished.
All right, the
They're
surface
little
is a little
bumpy.
rough, and if that's what you want, that's fine. That's the texture. If you want a smoother texture, then you can burnish it. All right. It all depends on what you're aiming to achieve. But if you notice, her top rim is very nice and smooth, and also her bottom is nice and smooth. It has a nice finishing touch on it. So you want it to have shape to it, and they have shape to it, and they have the final craftsmanship on them also. Now today, I know, like Sam had mentioned, how many times you're going to keep demonstrating this, but there are so many things to do in the process, all right? Besides just throwing the piece, while you're throwing the piece, you can also put a finish on it. So we'll just go through, and I know I demonstrated this for you already, but it's good to see it a lot of times, because I told you this is one of those subjects that it's a craft that you really have to practice. So I'll try to quickly get it to the point where I can throw it, and then I'll show you what you can do. Yesterday I showed you what you can do with the shape. Today I'll show you what you can do with the finish to add color, because color is another one of the art elements. So although pottery is functional, and if you wanted to use it strictly for function, that's okay too, but if you're an artist, you usually like to put some kind of artistic zeal. Alright, so first I'm going to center it. And if anybody has any questions as I'm going along, don't hesitate to stop me. I'm going to put the bottom on it. Does anybody remember how thick the bottom should be at the starting point? 1/4 of an inch? How about a little more than that? 3/4. Give yourself a little. As you get better, it'll be 1/4 of an inch. But in the beginning, 3/4, and we can always take away some of the clay. All right, you make the donut. You pull the sides out. You leave the floor level, and you get to the point where you're able to start the walls. Now, what did I tell you you had to do with your fingers? Right, lobster claws. If you remember lobster claws and remember 4 o'clock, does everyone remember 4 o'clock now, even though you use the cell phone this whole time? And what's the important thing you don't do with your hands? Try to keep your hands nice and unmovable, don't move them. So lobster claws, these are the tentacles. Push up on the clay. Nice and gentle. You don't push the clay. You work with the clay. Your outer finger pushes up some clay until you meet the inner finger, and then you push up the clay together. And it doesn't matter how many times you do it, as long as you get the clay to the walls to build up. If you rush it, then the walls will collapse on you. Add a little shape. I could push one finger in. I'll push the inner finger, the outer finger in. Give it a little bit of shape, and then when I come up here, I'll push the inner finger out.
Now one of our students, Merhaba Ahmad, reading a poem.
Hi everyone, my name is Merhaba. I am sorry that I couldn't be there with you today to be live and recite this poem, but I will be reading my poem. It's untitled. So I wrote, I am from hairbrushes from Revlon and Conair. I am from the windowsill, eyes staring at the busy and crowded streets of New York. I am from cardamom, the strong aroma reminds me of my mother and her mother. They added cardamom to almost every cuisine, rice and kofta, sliced eggplant sprinkled with coriander, and cups of tea. I am from a ton where my feet and hands move swiftly in the air to the beat of drums and rhubarb. I am from Nanga Namu's pride and honor, from Noor and Aisha. I am from the resiliency and discipline that my parents hold, from being told not to with my legs open because it is not ladylike, and being told that as a woman I must maintain modesty, cannot tarnish my family's reputation. I am from Islam. Arabic rolls off my tongue 5 times a day. Pashto rolls off my tongue when I'm speaking to my parents. I am from Afghanistan, from sugar-coated almonds and rice. From the eye my uncle lost due to a landmine in the Soviet-Afghan War. From my mom who became a refugee at age 6 and watched her home burn down to ashes. Tucked in my mother's suitcase, her belongings from life in Afghanistan, from life as a refugee in Pakistan, I see pictures of my extended family who look just like me. 20 years of life in the diaspora, I've never seen these people. I look at the eyes of these strangers who are my relations. I see resilient women who make magic with their hands. Resilient men who resisted colonization in the motherland, and resilient children who became victims of war and lived life anyway. Their strength is with me always. Thank you.
Now Tara Coleman speaks to Mark Gilson, one of her students, who is the winner of the research competition.
Okay, so I have here with me Mark Gilson, who actually was one of my students in English 102 back in the pre-COVID days. So Mark, it's so great to see you and to have you here. Mark has already graduated from LaGuardia, but he was one of the research review competition winners. And so I invited him to speak about his project. So Mark, can you just tell us what the project was that you submitted to the contest?
Sure. I believe it was a paper for my pharmacology class. It started as a class assignment where we picked a veterinary drug at random and wrote up a little bit about it. And then later on, we were asked to flesh it out into a research paper. I randomly picked lactulose, which is a disease known for treating constipation in animals. As it turns out, it's also used specifically to treat cases of constipation in reptiles, which is a specific interest of mine. So when I discovered that and asked my teacher, Dr. Scales, head of the department, I was like, "What can I write about? How they treat reptiles with lactulose?" She was like, "Yeah, please go ahead." So I really kind of took the ball and ran with it on that one because that was exciting to me. I mean, it's not the most exciting topic. But the thing about talking to people in vet med and reptiles and amphibians are my specific interest. And a lot of the information that we have about them comes from people who keep them. One of my professors that taught my exotics class said specifically about like people that come in with reptiles, like chances are they're going to know more about their specific reptile or whatever than whatever doctor does. Which makes sense, it's a hobby. So, people get like ultra specific about their hobbies and like, especially any kind of like breeding, like, people breed snakes and lizards and stuff. But yeah, I really enjoyed the opportunity to write about something that kind of engaged me in my personal interests, vet med and reptiles specifically. So I really went into it. I spent a lot of time on it. And then at the end, Dr. Scales encouraged me to submit it to the contest, and I did, and I took second place, which was a very nice surprise.
That's great. Yeah. And so you actually you had a scholarly article, at least one, maybe more than one that I don't know about, before you came to LaGuardia. So just talk about like what it was like to be a student at LaGuardia a little bit and, write in these different ways, having had such a background.
As far as LaGuardia goes, one of the best school experiences I've ever had, like hands down. It was really completely welcoming and warming from the get-go. I remember like one of my first days, I was like, wow, I feel like I'm on a set from Central Casting or something. Like, there was just like every, it was like, there was a blind student, there was a student in a wheelchair, there were students in burqas. It was just, I felt like, I was like, this is New York, this is Queens, this is community. I really felt like very much like I was like a part of something, even though I was older than a lot of the students. But that's fine. We all got along. And then I really felt like the curriculum made it a point to kind of reflect the LaGuardia community. Your class did that as well. You know, just from the writings and things that were chosen that we talked about and read in class, I felt like they were relevant to the student body. The kind of things, you know, it wasn't stuffy, stale, academic kind of writing. It was engaging, and I think when people get engaged, they get, well, obviously, you know, they get, when people are engaged, they're engaged, and that brings out different results. My previous paper was, it's another exactly similar kind of thing. This was back in my earlier education. I was a student at School of Visual Arts. I was going for my master's in computer art when that was a thing, when we all thought CD-ROMs were gonna take over the world. And it was, once again, it was just another like class assignment that I had to, I don't even remember really what the topic was, this, or why it turned out like it did. But I wrote this paper, and my teacher encouraged me to submit it to the SVA magazine, which is, it's an academic journal, and it got accepted. So that one was, the paper was about how, God, how do I explain this? It's a little weird, and it's very kind of niche. It was sort of about how Japanese pop culture and technology were sort of intertwined, and how I saw that kind of playing out through like giant robot shows. It's like I said, it's really, really weird. But a friend of mine actually just recently, a younger guy who's a crazy anime nut, did a deep dive on it, like went into Wikipedia, and he found that article got it's been checked in like 11 or 12 other academic papers. A teacher in Vancouver used it as part of their curriculum.
Wow.
But then the thing that for a while, I was the #1 reference for mecha, which is the generalized term for Japanese giant robots in Wikipedia, which is like my nerd cred. I was like, yeah, #1 for that.
Nerd cred.
But it actually gets worse for nerd cred. So my friend looked it up, and he, Wikipedia, you have to, it's peer reviewed, so they have to decide that a topic has any sort of value. So he found that they had used my paper to defend the validity of one of the genres that is open on Wikipedia now, that was sort of interesting.
Wow, that's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just but once again, it was just something that I was kind of intrigued by, like really sort of engaged in at the time. So it was easy for me to talk about it and write about it. You know what it is? It's the things that I like. If you engage somebody about things that they're interested in, things that they like, they'll talk about it. I'm one of those people that if I hear you talking about something that's interesting to me, kind of within earshot, I'll find a way to sneak in and be like,
Yeah. Yeah, that's so fantastic. And I'm so glad that you had the opportunity to explore some of those things at LaGuardia. And just want to congratulate you on graduating through the pandemic. You had just pretty much finished your candidacy, right when the pandemic hit. And
exactly. Basically, it was maybe 2 weeks into the clinical portion of our program when like full lockdown happened. So it was a challenge for me and all my fellow students, but we did it.
Congratulations, that's so exciting.
And big thanks to LaGuardia for that one, because I really felt supported by staff throughout the whole thing. I mean, my department, the health sciences, vet tech in particular, just fantastic staff, and I really I felt very much supported and not abandoned during the whole thing, because it was crazy. It all happened really, really fast, and nobody really knew what they were gonna do or how it was gonna work. So it was kind of a let's see how this goes as it goes along, and it worked. They made it work.
A
and I'm
great
grateful for
testament to
that.
community and collective dedication on the faculty, the staff, the students, everyone.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, great. Thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us.
No problem. Anytime, anything for LaGuardia.
Okay, so the thing has come to a boil, and I'm going to cover it up. While that's been boiling, by the way, while it's been heating up, I've been preheating my oven to 450. And I'm now going to take it and shove it in there. And I'm going to turn the oven off. That's the trick. And we're going to leave it in there for about 20 minutes.
All right, next, one of our students, Brenda Quattrini, is going to play Etude Number 2 in G minor by Moritz Moskowski.
Now, Professor Sonia Rodriguez from the English department will read a poem for us.
Warning for rape and sexual assault. I'm not going to share a link for it because it's not published yet, but it's coming. This one's called Cluck Like a Chicken, like cluck like a chicken. Back in your dorm, after the How to Not Get Raped workshop offered by Student Affairs, you Google chickens. The coach brought in to teach the women to defend themselves ended his talk by saying, and if all else fails, cluck like a chicken. You leave knowing there's no physical way you can overpower an attacker. You won't be able to use their weight against them, flipping them over your back like some WWE match. You won't be able to thrust the thick part of your palm against their nose hard enough to do any damage. You won't even be able to hit them in the groin because you lack aim. You're left with learning to cluck like a chicken. You're in luck. There are 122,000 videos on the subject. You quickly learn that most people assume chickens go cluck, 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 or bawk, bawk, bawk. Most of the people in the videos shake their heads like chickens, pecking the bright blue sky. Some people puff up their cheeks when they bawk. Do chickens have cheeks, you wonder? Other people flap their arms like wings, but you can't recall ever seeing chickens walk that way. But you've only seen chickens on TV, so what do you know? It can't be as simple as cluck or bawk and the chicken dance, because that would have meant you've known how to defend yourself this entire time. The videos with actual chickens in them seem the most reliable. One chicken with black feathers and a red face catches your attention. If this wasn't serious business, you'd laugh your butt off because it looks like the chicken is wearing lipstick, and the shine on its feathers makes you think of gel on jet black hair. You imagine the chicken getting ready to cross the road. Focus, you screech to yourself, and tap your head in the way you do when you get spacey. The fancy chicken box. It definitely doesn't have cheeks, although the red face makes it look like it's wearing way too much blush. Focus certainly doesn't flap its wings, but it does shake its tail feathers. After watching the video on repeat a dozen times, you want to laugh or cry because the fancy chicken looks like it's having a good time at some dance. You start to worry that something might happen to the chicken, that the chicken is so lost in its own happiness that it won't notice another chicken sneaking up to snatch it all away. A tall woman at the workshop asked, "What if it's like not full-on rape? That's like bad, right?" You don't know her name, but she lives on your floor. You've seen her walking around the shared bathroom with a towel on her head. You convince yourself her towel is red to match the combs chickens have at the top of their heads. She looks like a buck girl to you. Even though some of the other girls giggled and others scoffed, you perked up because that was your question too. But you were too chicken to ask. You were the wrong kind of chicken. The coach said, "That's complicated," and told her to stay after. When the coach asked if anyone had any questions, you had a million of them running through your head, but none of them made it to your mouth. When everyone was dismissed and some girls stayed after to talk to the coach or to each other, you wanted to stay and listen because you didn't even know how to ask the questions that burned inside of you. For a second, you considered Googling your questions. What if you were drunk and don't remember the details? What if you had said yes and then no and then they didn't stop? What if you went over to their place and didn't consent to the kind of sex that they wanted to have? What if it was a relative of a friend? What if it was someone you met online? What if you can't scrub the scent of cigarettes from your body, from your nostrils, from your brain? What if you can't tell if it's a nightmare or a repressed memory? What if it's become easier and easier and easier to leave your body behind? You search for chickens in your area instead. You want to learn to cluck like a chicken from the original source. There's a grocery store a few miles away that sells live chickens. There's a bus leaving in 28 minutes that'll take you there. But you don't want to buy a chicken because you have nowhere to put it. Although walking around with a chicken might solve your how-to problem. You imagine taking your chicken to class, to the library, to the bar, pecking its tiny head with tiny chicken sunglasses everywhere you go. In your dorm, you're alone. You already miss an imaginary chicken bodyguard you've named Henry. By now, you've learned about the Sussex chicken, the Burmese chicken, the Rhode Island chicken. You wonder if chickens click differently in different countries. You search, ¿Qué sonido hacen las gallinas? To see if chickens sound different in Spanish. You consider asking your mother if she had to learn to cluck like a chicken in Mexico. Cacarear already sounds like a better weapon than cluck. You come across an amateur Mexican wrestler who dresses like a chicken. She leaps the rope, spreads her wings, and shouts, "Pío, pío, pío." You watch all of Gallina Voladora's videos. In an interview, she says, "Chickens do fly. You're not a chicken, so what the cluck do you know?" Even though you haven't learned to cluck like a chicken, that doesn't stop you from ordering a few chicken costumes online. Before going to bed, you sign up for one-on-one tutoring with a chicken at a local farm. All else has failed. You've said no, you've screamed, you've told someone afterwards. You're left with learning to cluck like a chicken. Thank you.
Now, Dr. Fulton from the Humanities Performing Music Department is going to share a movie by one of his students, Dom Glover.
My name is Dom Glover. Follow me on Instagram, domglover.ny. My major here, LaGuardia, music performance. And this is like a spoken word rap piece I got. It's called Butterfly. I'm crawling out the cocoon, calling out to the moon, ready for all the pleasures I thought about and assume. Stop the doubt and I block it out, it's all about what is new. Take a stretch and see my wings, my arms are out, so I flew. I use it as a suit of armor or maybe a badge of honor. Explore worlds my people weren't given a chance to conquer. It's unforgiving, brothers early in their path, we lost them. Preach to our souls the freedom we hold, but really, we lacking options. But you see, our strength is what we make up for it. To preserve and fight, that's what remains important. Take to the air, I'm soaring with more grace than Jordan. A fire's been lit under me and these flames are scorching. Erase these notions, the ones that try to limit and stop us. The same ones that cause us to keep getting killed by them coppers. I just want to fly, but these incidents, they sit on my conscience. Thankful for the black butterflies that made significant progress. Thank you.
So what we're gonna do now is what's called blanching. There's a fry guy in the restaurant industry. I've taken a flat pan like this and I've poured in, I think, canola oil, ideally all canola oil. And I've just turned on the oven on high to bring it up to speed. Blanching, typically you're supposed to, blanching is like pre-cooking any kind of tuber or anything that has to cook on the inside. And usually you do it at about 300 degrees, but another way is just to start the oil cold. All right, like that. And let it heat up until it starts almost frying or frying the sides. Now some student artwork from the Connecting Threads exhibition.
December.
Now, the mysterious, anonymous performs one of Monty Python's most famous pieces, the Dead Parrot Sketch.
Hello. I know. You did not know I was British. Deal with it. Professor Fernandez asked for content, but he never specified it had to be of quality. So here we are. I am going to perform Monty Python's Dead Parrot Sketch for you. I bet you never knew I went to Juilliard too. This is a two-people scene. Mr. Praline the customer, and the shop owner. Start scene. A customer enters a pet shop. Mr. Praline. Hello. I wish to register a complaint. The owner does not respond. Mr. Praline. Hello. Miss? Owner. What do you mean, miss? Mr. Praline. Pause. I'm sorry. I have a cold. I wish to make a complaint. Owner. We're closing for lunch. Mr. Praline. Never mind that, my lad. I wish to complain about this parrot what I purchased not half an hour ago from this very boutique. Owner. Oh yes. The Norwegian blue. What's wrong with it? Mr. Praline. I'll tell you what's wrong with it, my lad. He's dead. That's what's wrong with it. Owner? No. He's resting. Mr. Praline. Look, matey, I know a dead parrot when I see one, and I'm looking at one right now. Owner? No, he's not dead. He's resting. Remarkable bird. The Norwegian blue-eyed net. Beautiful plumage. Mr. Praline. The plumage don't enter into it. It's stone dead. Owner? No. He's resting. Mr. Praline. All right then. If he's resting, I'll wake him up. Shouting at the cage. Hello, Mr. Polly Parrot. I've got a lovely fresh cuttlefish for you if you show. Owner hits the cage. Owner? There. He moved. Mr. Praline. No, he didn't. That was you hitting the cage. Due to budget cuts, LaGuardia did not have enough money for me to do the entire sketch. I am willing to give academia a break, but I also need to put food on the table. Moral of the story. Get a dog.
And now, one of our alumni, Annie Wu, with her subway protest. Next, Professor Giordano Morello is going to show us some group movement exercises.
1.
All right, so I don't know if you can see this. I've flipped the bananas over. They've cooked on both sides. And turn down the heat. Usually I burn these things when I got the heat up too high. You want to make sure it's cooked on both sides. You can see how it's getting a little toasty. And what you're doing, this one looks a little big. I don't know how it's going to turn out. And using the banana leaf as a kind of a way to, you know, protect this thing. Protect your hand, really, but also, you know, provide the integrity. All you're doing is you're just smashing the bananas and putting them back in smashed in the, you got to do this for tostones. You don't necessarily have to do this for maduros. I'm just trying to do them all. All right. And ideally, when we get them all back in there, we will have them all cook properly. Obviously, you want the inside cooked. The good news is you can't really, I mean, you could burn them, but, and that could, burning does kind of ruin the flavor a little bit, but if you're careful and you just don't turn the heat up too high, then even if they're really brown, they taste amazing. All right.
It's 1977. The Knicks are playing the New Orleans Jazz. Pistol Pete Maravich is having the game of his life. It'll be his highest scoring game. With 3 minutes left, who comes off the bench? Number 41, our very own interim director of athletics, Andrew Walker. Let's go to the tape.
His first personal team foul, number 2 of the Jazz. Number 41, Andy Walker replaces Mo Howard. Andy Walker coming into the game, replacing Mo Howard. Andy Walker, a 7th-round draft choice from Niagara, the lowest drafted player to make it in the NBA this year. Tom McMillan, no good, and he gets with 68 points. Really caught up again. Tom McMillan. Tommy with 16. 5 seconds left in the ball game. Aaron James. Walker. That scores. Score the basket by Walker, and that's the ball game. Only 1/2 a game behind New York. The final score, 124 to 107. New Orleans wins it. We'll be back with a recap after this.
Now, a little more guitar from our own Bert Eisenstadt in the Writing Center.
This is a Hawaiian slap key guitar piece called Blue Water Dolphin by Makana. Thanks for listening.
And now some contemporary sides from Drissa Coulibaly.
Smells like a horse's butt in here.
Hello, Riley. What's...
I was knocking for 10 minutes this time.
You want a beer or something? You seem a bit high-strung.
You forgot what today was?
What's today?
Our father's funeral.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, I know.
Why didn't you come?
I'm still going.
We buried him 2 hours ago.
Right, well, I plan on going after everything on my own time. How's Rita?
Our mother's a wreck.
Is she?
Why don't you try calling her to find out? I just came by because... I don't know. I just came by. Now I gotta head back to the island. I go to work each day, busting my butt, raising a family. I own a house.
Yes, you do. You own a house, Raleigh.
And you fart around all day in your disgusting robe. Your place stinks. You smell like alleyway trash. Just living on your one-book residuals. You're ridiculous. Go get a job. Pop out of your bubble and enter the real world.
Okay.
What is this?
It's just doodle bugs.
Have you been taking your meds?
Yes.
Let me see your subscription bottles.
Raleigh, please don't do this to me.
You know what will happen if you keep venturing down into this trash again, right?
I know.
Wake up, Waldo. You can't go back in life. You can only go forward.
I'm fine.
Okay, so I've smashed them all, and now I've just got them cooking here. There's the rice, the arroz con pollo. And I'll just keep an eye on these things and flip them from time to time just to make sure they all get brown. And as they are done, then I'll pull them out. I usually put them on a blotter, like some sort of paper on the plate, and then salt them right after I get them on there, because they take to the salt best when they're freshly fried. Smells good, baby?
Smells delicious.
Next, we have student Mary Corrine Andeza speaking to Tara Coleman about winning the Berman Scholarship.
Okay, so hi again, everyone. I have with me right now Mary Corrine Andeza, one of the winners of the Berman Scholarship from last year. Hi, Mary Corrine. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me today.
Welcome, and thanks for taking the time to talk to us about the scholarship. So could you just tell us a little bit about what kind of information that you shared with the committee when you applied for this scholarship?
So when I applied for the scholarship, at the time I was still doing my pre-nursing studies. So I was still taking one of my prerequisites for the RN program. And then the following semester, for the fall semester, last semester actually, I got into the RN program, thankfully. And then definitely I think that the scholarship taught me a lot because of like other expenses that didn't cover with some of my financial aid. But aside from that, the things that I shared to the committee is that I was also an API tutor. So as an academic peer instruction tutor, I help students with like practicing and honing their skills, especially with foundations of chemistry, because it's kind of a course where you do need to do a lot of practice because of like word problems, definitely a lot of application skills. So it was really a fun experience, and also just in general think that has helped me a lot as a student, because I got to really interact with my peers. I think that since most of my college experience at LaGuardia has been like through virtual, so I felt that I didn't really get to interact with my peers. And through the API program, I think that I was really able to connect with my peers, also just in general, be able to hone my skills. I think those were the things that I've shared to the community.
Yes, that sounds great. And it sounds like a win-win in terms of the API program, that you were able to help your peers, but also that interaction really helped you and gain some confidence and some skills of your own too. And congratulations on being accepted to the RN program. I know that that's a really big step. How is that going for you so far?
Definitely takes a lot of work. I do have to do hundreds of readings every week, but that's, that's part of the things that the program expects for me to do. So I do as much as I can, to the best of my abilities, to make sure that I comply with what they require of me, and also just having a good time with like clinicals and laboratories. I felt that I can really just apply most of the skills that I've learned during laboratories and clinicals eventually when I go into the nursing field. So.
That's great. And lastly, do you have any advice for anyone who might be considering applying for this scholarship this year? I know it must have been a really busy time when you decided to apply. You were applying for candidacy. There was a lot going on, so you took the time to do that. Do you have any advice for anyone who might be thinking about it and not sure whether it's worth their effort or what they should do to be successful?
I definitely think that I know that a lot of students get easily discouraged when applying to some scholarships because they don't know if they are like eligible for it or if they think that they're cut out for it. But I definitely think that with just like sending in an application can go a long way, because a lot of these committees they see your potential. And definitely, like, if you can do things that like make you involved with the school. Like I was working with the API program. I was also working through the summer internship with CUNY. So before the fall semester. So I was able to do that. I was working with Disability Unite. So I got to really just interact with my community and also with CUNY. So yeah, just try to branch out, do a lot of things that also like you enjoy and that you like, and then definitely the committee will see that you've done a lot of things, and also just and generally has just honed your skills. So
wow, sounds like you're very busy and very committed, and that you still take the time to give back, and we really appreciate that. And so thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to share a little bit about this scholarship with us. We really appreciate it.
Of course, the least I can do.
And now again, Mark Brooks with the Mark Abishay Brooks Project.
Student James Wells. On guitar, by way of Australia, Kent Thompson. And on drums, by way of the Bronx. German Castillo.
now a poem from Dr. Laura Tannenbaum.
3 poems that I've published or will be publishing recently, and they're all kind of connected to grief, which is a theme on a lot of our minds. I was writing about it even before the pandemic. So the first one is called O'Hare Airport at Midnight, and this was published recently in Trampoline. O'Hare Airport at midnight. It wasn't midnight exactly, but my mother taught me. People who say 548 people or 1038 on the nose think they're admirably precise, but really they're full of shit. It wasn't midnight exactly or any time exactly when, the day before, I shoveled dirt on the spot where she was and was not, heard intoned, took her to tend to her last physical need. Not really midnight, 3 delayed flights. I was flat on my back on the carpet, watching the craning necks swoop down. Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you? What to say? How to say? Even now, there was a freedom in it, being there, motherless, childless, or rather, without the child outside me. The one inside dwelled there. The child, the reason for the crane necks. 7 months in, 2 to go. Too far gone to be here, to be anywhere. Just lie if you need to. I couldn't tell them that when the little girl across the way threw her Uno cards down, twisted her face, and vomited at such a perfect angle that one bit of green on the already green carpet decorated the coveted draw 4 card at her sister's feet. I looked at them like the survivors on a lifeboat, my heart wrenched but motionless, not one muscle turning 1 inch from the boat. I couldn't tell them that I was thinking of my mother pregnant, so much younger than me, attending to my first need, whispering it into being, as young then as my students now, every day less my mother, more my child. Pregnant women could do anything then, smoke, eat sushi, hitchhike to Florida, but she didn't. She just paced around her walk-up, typed charts and graphs for draft after draft of his thesis in their crappy grad school apartment. Behind the crib she'd taken from the street, she watched Nixon's men squirm on the TV. I couldn't tell them. My eyes were closed, it's worse and worse. Places like this one, the dead white lines, the infinite dead plastic, a half-chewed slab of processed meat. The only evidence something other than us once lived. I root for the lost sparrow, for the ants in the bathroom, for anyone or anything that might yet live or die or live. I couldn't tell them, and so I did what I would do months later, when the baby shook through every blanket, every grief, and every heaviness. I pulled up against every call of every cell for rest. I stood, I pushed that suitcase back and forth on the walkway, prayed only I could not be mistaken for a creature in need of comfort. On the walkway, they played that Gershon swell, the one the airlines years ago smashed into a jingle. The newspaper boxes faced inward, announced that order had been restored. The Cubs were losing again. Their scratched plastic faces offering up their clever, desperate consolation. Wait till last year. And the next poem that I'm going to read, which is also about grief, is called Little Grief Song. And this one is about the pandemic, and it's about hanging out at a cemetery, because that was where I could hang out early in the pandemic. And it's called Little Grief Song. And I start with this little quote from Adrienne Rich, which is, "But the great dark birds of history scream and plunged into our personal weather. They were headed somewhere else, but their beaks and pinions dove along the shore through the rages of fog where we stood, saying, I." That's from Adrienne Rich. And then this is me. "Today we took the kids to the cemetery for escape. No, it's fine, we explain. It's a place to go, it's historical. You ask, am I grieving? Okay then, yes, I'm grieving. That last day on the playground, someone sent me a picture and a joke, said we were all doomed. We touch our faces too much. Remember that? I thought then I had never touched another person's face, not even by accident, and now I never would. The kids find graves of 2 brothers from Maryland who fought on opposite sides of the last battle of the Civil War. Reunited at the field hospital, one said peace and the other said traitor. The war between brothers was propaganda, but once in a while true, like everything. The kids have bandanas, call themselves bandits. Years ago, a teacher blindfolded us and we touched each other's faces. It was acting or dance or maybe anthropology. I don't remember, but I remember Michelle's cheeks. She thought the exercise distasteful. I've only touched the faces of people I've been with. I wasn't with her, but we drove to New Hampshire together. Bad teachers are good at bringing people together. She met my mother, likely brushed her cheek. I don't remember Michelle's last name. It's not true what they say. People still disappear. Happens all the time, even before this. Did I remember her last name? He says one day, that first morning. Honestly, I was shaky on her first. You said that once about someone now lost to you, and I loved you for it. You say you don't miss that, her, then, any of it, and neither do I. Or so I say, sitting softly, brushing no one's cheek. Every day I lose 100 names.
All right, so the timer went off, 20 minutes, and there we go. Look at that. Notice how there's still water on the side? If anything, it's a little too dry. That's the way I like it. Asopado, which is soupy. Okay, so we've got our arroz con pollo. Notice how it's not as yellow as it was before, so can you imagine when you see that really yellow stuff? We've got our tostones and maduros, which I've salted lightly. I'll also serve this with ideally it would have been a watercress salad, but I've got some baby arugula that'll do good. But I just want to show you how, this is old school here, so one of the ways to garnish it is you just take some sweet peas. Here, this is a can of them. These are just Del Montes, but, you know. And you can throw them out as thick as you want. I mean, there's usually extra left, so got extra all the time. And by the way, I could have put this on a platter if I would have had like guests or something, but this is just for me and the wife, so we're, down home. Put some pimento slices on there like this. Use them all because these pimento, I don't know how often you use pimentos, but what's the point of saving them if they're gonna go? Usually they go bad on me. So there it is. And there you got your arroz con pollo, your tostones with your, some sort of green, and enjoy. Aprovecha, as we say.
Now another short film by one of our students, Julian Mejia and Christine Grimm, The Sounds of Quarantine.
That's what you're acting like. I really don't mind.
That was good. I'm enjoying this.
Hugo, we're recording. You're live.
Oh, okay. Next, Oliver, or as he's known, as Tara Coleman's son, who actually wanted to be show host and compete with me for the Stream-a-thon hosting opportunity. We'll put together a Lego truck.
Hi, my name is Oliver, and today I'm going to build a Lego truck. See, I'm not going to build it, I'm going to build it the exact same way, but then I'm going to add some extra details. Like I might add, like, this chain here. I might add the chain and put it onto the back, but let's see. So, let's start building. So first I'm going to need one of these bricks and one of those, which is these two things. This brick is going to go on here like that. Now, oh look, it looks like we need one of these. Let's make it bigger so I can count the things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And where was I again? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 bricks are left. So we're going to need, nope, that's too far back. One of these and one of these.
Hello, Rochelle here again. By now, we all know that Professor Carrier is retiring after nearly 35 years at LaGuardia. Faculty Council wanted to take a moment to honor Paul's work at the college, not only as provost, but also as interim president. We would like to thank Paul for his leadership during COVID-19 and his elevation of the role of faculty governance at the college. To do that, we've introduced the Paul Carrier Don Walker LGBTQIA+ scholarship, which is open to students who identify as members of that community. In the vein of being more inclusive, we wanted to promote the visibility of queer life on campus and to foster education and community activism. To apply for the scholarship, LGBTQIA+ students are required to submit a statement on one of the following 2 topics. First, identity and education, where students reflect on the relationship between the LGBTQIA+ identity and their educational experiences, either at LaGuardia or some stage prior. 2, advancing LGBTQIA+ lives, where students write about plans to pursue careers and or engage in community work that will support or advance LGBTQIA+ individuals. We ask that faculty and staff help us promote the scholarship, and we especially ask for the assistance of faculty who are already engaging with this material in their classes. Folks, please take a moment to enjoy this short montage which looks back at Professor Carrier's time at LaGuardia.
So I just want to thank everybody who has watched the Stream-a-thon and everybody who contributed content to the Stream-a-thon. The folks at Faculty Council who gave us a chance last year and had great results. Hopefully we will be able to match, if not exceed, last year's numbers. I also want to thank the folks at LaGuardia Web Radio, WLGR, Professor Dr. Jamie Riccio, who single-handedly had to splice this thing together, and our editor, our engineer, Christopher Pope, who had to tape me doing a lot of these intro outros for you. And just want to say that this is probably going to be the last Stream-a-thon because we're going to go back to the terrestrial experience of the auction, where the driving force in fundraising will be poinsettias and a few of the things donated by our colleagues that we are prepared to bid on. Though we won't have Dr. Luca's limoncello to bid on anymore. But again, thanks to everybody, particularly the folks at LaGuardia Marketing Department, as well as the folks in the development office who helped us use their apparatus to both promote and bring in the dollars. And a special thanks to our president, Kenneth Adams, who gave us a little some remarks today with the help of his chief of staff, Nayeli Valencia Torrent. And again, thanks for everybody who did something to make this thing special. When we all come together, it's amazing what we can accomplish. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.